Hey everyone, welcome back to Today in Tarkov. I took a few days off to go camping, unplug, was completely out of cell phone service, and I came back to today's little fiasco or update or whatever you want to call it that seems to have lit the entire Tarkov community ablaze. So let's talk about that a little bit. BSG added a anti-RMT mechanic to non-found in raid loot. So if you go into raid with items, they lose found in raid status, obviously, if they haven't already, and throw it out of your inventory, it will be quote unquote destroyed, deleted, however you want to look about it. It just goes away. There's a warning message with this, so it doesn't happen, and it shows up if you throw out your backpack and it's got one of these items, or you throw out a container, it's got one of these items. So it won't just happen without you knowing. Now the list is pretty broad. It covers money, barter items, keys and key cards, containers, specific armbands, info items, the high-end melee weapons. So all of that stuff you can't bring in and give to players with the exception of a few items, and we'll go over that exception list right now. Those exceptions are up to 20k rubles, so that's good because you can give your buddy money to get out of the car extract if he forgets to bring money or doesn't have enough. Things like quest items, the 3 golden neck chains, the 3 kite gunpowders, 2 toolkits, the roller submariner watch, those things, and then things like paracord, which you need for extracts. This 1 silicone tube and 1 injector of each kind, which silicone tube I'm not sure about, but the injector of each type is so you can throw out like a propitol and a Zagustan if you wanted to, but you can't throw out 2 propitols that if they're non-found in raid. So these items, excluding the exceptions, will be destroyed if you drop them. Now this includes if you die with them outside of your secure container. So if you have like 3 non-found in raid propitols in your backpack and you die, it'll delete them. Same thing with some of these other stuff if they're non-found in raid. So items that meet this criteria will not be deleted if it's inside your secure container. Also exempt from this list is gear, guns, and ammo, at least for now. So you can still swap with players, bring player gear, things like that, your buddies' gear from last raid, all that kind of stuff. Let's get through the rest of the patch notes or changes that came with the patch today. And as a side note, rogues are still in the game. I'm not still in the game. They're still on customs, they're still on shoreline, and they're still on woods. The patch did not push them all back to lighthouse, so you will still see them. So the list of fixes, and there's some good ones here. Starting off with scav raiders and rogues will no longer aggro player scavs if they kill a PMC. This has been a very annoying bug for a while. It's really ruined some players' experiences, especially when it comes to grinding scav karma. So it looks like they fixed that. There's more fixes to the animations of rain showing up in buildings. And then they fixed one of the possible reasons that causes grenades to be silent or invisible when they throw them. So this means that there's obviously multiple reasons for this, but it looks like they tackled one of them. Raiders were acting weird if they killed a player. After they killed the player, there was a lot of weird stuff they were doing. It looks like they corrected that. And then Shal apparently had a bug with his logic in using medicine, so that was corrected. They changed or quote unquote fixed the reaction of bots with smoke grenades. I'm not quite sure what this means. I've used smokes in the past to fish out or make AI move around. Maybe they've changed that, or I don't know what that they've done. So keep an eye out for that if you use smokes. And then they fixed the display adjustment with the magnification on the Schmidt and Bender 3 to 12 by 50 scope. There was an issue there. That's been corrected. There was an issue with the animation of the MP 433 Grach, the little 9mm pistol. When you're reloading it, there was some kind of goofy thing with your hand in the animation. They fixed that. And then scavs, raiders, and rogues will no longer take up close positions when engaging players. There was just basically they would kind of push you, but then kind of stop, and you could kind of cheese it. So it looks like they fixed that. It'll be interesting to see how that changes interactions with the more advanced AI. And then lastly, they fixed some kind of animation freeze that had to do with a raid screen and Ragman's service tab and the Chiappa Rhino. A lot of words in there. Don't know what it means. Never ran into it. But if you did, now you know that it's fixed. And then lastly, this is a big one. They fixed the significant damage reduction when shooting through Terra Group tarps. This was running around the community wild here for the last couple of weeks or month or so. And I think there's more issues with that. So it looks like this is one fix of it. Hopefully that this has addressed any of the other issues we've seen with penetration and damage problems. But the tarp one has been addressed, it looks like. So back to the hot topic at hand, the new RMT feature or real money trading. And this is a huge issue in video games across the board, not just Tarkov. In all my years of gaming, I don't know that I've ever seen anybody really successfully battle it without, removing key features of their game or even destroying their community as far as how many people play it. And to be honest with you, I feel like most companies just ignore it. They'll do a couple of bans on bots or, occasionally the big whale that's spending a bunch of money. But for the most part, they just ignore the players that are buying the money, which is the big problem here. RMT has plagued games from Diablo 3 and World of Warcraft and EVE. I mean, those games are ancient compared to some of the others. And then new ones like New World. They're all still battling it. Now, today's changes are pretty heavy-handed. I'll admit that. I'm not going to try to defend that or anything like that. In short, it's negatively infected the entire player base in differing degrees, but negatively infected the entire player base to address a very small group of people and try to limit their abuses. This mechanic absolutely destroys players' playstyles like that friendly guy. But people like me, it barely affects. And it's going to cause some annoyances to most of the player base at best. And at worst, it's going to make people not want to play the game. Now, I see a lot of people talking about how it's never good when a company has to go this heavy-handed to address a problem. But I think it's more broad than that. Nikita has said several times in the past on podcasts that he doesn't like players boosting each other. He doesn't think it's fair that because you have friends, you can skip whole sections of the game, whereas somebody who doesn't can't. He thinks everybody should be on equal playing ground. So this isn't just addressing RMT, it's addressing the whole boosting side as well, which they say in their post. This is to battle RMT and boosting. Now, this by itself isn't going to stop RMT entirely, but it's going to take a pretty big bite out of it. All the people that just run around and pick up loot and sell it for real money, they're not going to be able to do it anymore. It's not going to really affect people that do carries or, build accounts up and then sell accounts. But there's not a lot of people that pay for those. That's not a really big part of the business. Spending $3 or $5 or $10 or whatever it is for a Red Labs key card, that's easy to do. Spending $60, $70, $80 for a whole account that's probably going to get picked up and banned eventually anyways, there's not as much of a market for that. Now, we don't know how long this is gonna last. Is this gonna persist through the next wipe? Probably, but we don't know. We don't know if there's other changes coming down the line. They could get even more strict. They could get less strict. This is just the opening salvo to a attack that BSG is trying to address the cheater problem inside Tarkov, which we all hate. And it's really a no-win situation for everybody involved. There is no good solution here, at least not one that I've been able to find. Somebody's going to have to suffer in order to address it. But that doesn't mean this is where it's over. Like most things, it requires balance. So let's do our job as beta testers, and you can disagree with me. You're wrong. This is a game, it's a beta, and if you're playing it, you're a beta tester, and provide positive suggestions, feedback, and meaningful insight into how we can have this not affect us as a player base, but still battle the issue of cheating. Something my dad told me a long time ago that sticks with me to this day is criticism without providing solution is just whining. But let's not whine. Let's help. Let's make the game better for everybody. But that's my soapbox. We'll wrap it up there. Appreciate you watching. I wish you the best of luck in your raids, and we'll see you in Tarkov.